Thank you so much for having me here today. I am really excited to talk to you about our topic for today's video. Without further ado, let's start the overview. According to Republic Act 4136, the Land Transportation and Traffic Code, as the general rules of road use and conduct, which include the general prohibitions and restrictions, are the basis of the traffic rules in the Philippines. And let me introduce the topic to be discussed of our group. First is speed limit and other rules of speed. Next is maximum allowable speeds. Next is exception to the speed limit. Next is uniform speed limits and true to the Philippines. Next is lateral placement, and the last is overtaking and passing.
So the first is define what is speed limit and discuss the 3 rules of speed limit and why the rules need to follow. What is speed limit? A speed limit is the maximum or minimum speed permitted by law in a given area under specified circumstances. Speed limit are specified in Republic Act 4136 or the Land Transportation and Traffic Code of the Philippines. The Act covers a number of other areas than speed limits, and was amended regarding some of those areas by Republic Act number 10930, which was approved on August 2, 2017. Speed limits covered in Act mainly apply to national roads, but lower speed limits may be specified on provincial and local roads in the interest of road safety and design speed. And these are the 3 rules of speed limit. The maximum allowable speed, which is open country roads, exception to the speed limit, and uniform speed limits throughout the Philippines, which is open roads through streets, municipal or city streets, or barangay roads. And why is it important to follow these rules? Because your driving speed influences the risk of injury to you, your passengers, and other road users. Increasing your speed also increases your stopping distance, meaning your risk of crashing is higher.
I will be going to discuss the maximum allowable speed on specified motor vehicle. Firstly, on open country roads with no blind corners wherein not closely bordered by habitations, the maximum allowable speed on passenger cars and motorcycle is 80 km per hour, while on motor trucks and buses is 50 km per hour. The reason why there is differences on motor trucks, buses, and motorcycles and passenger cars maximum allowable speed is that motor trucks and buses requires longer to decelerate or to brake to a complete stop. Second is on true streets or boulevard clear of traffic with no blind corners when so designated. The maximum allowable speed of passenger car and motorcycle is 40 km per hour, while on motor trucks and buses is 30 km per hour. The importance of following the maximum allowable speed on motor vehicle is to ensure the safety of everyone and to enhance the safety by reducing risk imposed by drivers' speed choices.
We will discuss today the speed limit and other rules on speed, which is the maximum allowable speed under Republic Act 4136, otherwise known as the Land Transportation and Traffic Code. And Section 35, which is the restriction as to speed, It's stated here that any person driving a motor vehicle on a highway shall drive the same at a careful and prudent speed, not greater nor less than is reasonable and proper, having due regard for the traffic, the width of the highway, and of any other condition than under is existing, and no person shall drive any motor vehicle upon a highway at such a speed as to endanger the life, limb, and property of any person, nor at a speed greater than will permit him to bring the vehicle to stop within the assured clear distance ahead. So, if we're gonna drive motorcycle, motor vehicle, automobiles, or etc., we should be responsible enough so that we cannot endanger the life of another person. We cannot endanger the property of another person. Second, speed limits, speed restrictions on different roads. Subject to the provision of the preceding paragraph, the rate speed of motor vehicle shall not exceed the following: on city and municipal streets with light traffic with not designated through streets, for passenger cars we have 30 km per hour and 30 km per hour for motor trucks and buses. Last, through crowded streets, approaching intersections and blind corners, passing school zones, passing other vehicles which are stationary, or for similar dangerous circumstances. For passenger cars and motorcycles, we have 20 km per hour allowable speed. For motor trucks and buses, we have 20 km per hour speed.
You know now the definition of the speed limit, and also you know now the maximum or the general rule of the speed limit. Now, I'm going to talk about the exemption of the speed limit. The first one is a physician or his driver when the former responds to emergency call. The exemption of the speed limit for physician or emergency responders is based on the urgency situation. In emergencies, every second counts, and allowing them to exceed the speed limit enable quicker response times to potentially life-threatening situations. This exemption is guaranteed with the expectation that these drivers will prioritizing safety while navigating through traffic. The second exemption of the speed limit is the drivers of a hospital ambulance on the way to and from the place accident or other emergency. Ambulance drivers are typically exempted from speed limit when responding to emergencies because it allows them to reach the scene or hospital more quickly. This exemption is made to ensure timely medical assistance in critical situations. However, it's crucial to ambulance drivers to balance the speed with safety, taking into account traffic conditions and other hazard or potential hazards on the road. The third exemption of the speed limit is any driver bringing wounded or sick person for emergency treatment to a hospital, clinic, or any similar places. Drivers transporting wounded or sick individuals, especially in emergency situations, are often exempted from regular speed limit to ensure swift access to medical care. The primary goal is to provide timely medical intervention, potentially improving the chances of recovery or stabilizing the patient's condition. The fourth exemption to the rule of the speed limit is the drivers of a motor vehicle belonging to the armed forces while in use for official purposes in times of riot, insurrection, or invasion. Military vehicles, including those owned by armed forces, are exempted from regular speed limit in certain situations for the purpose of to facilitate their operational needs. This exemption is often granted to ensure rapid deployment of military personnel, equipment, and resources when responding to emergencies or carrying out the critical missions. The exception allow for flexibility in transport, enabling swift and effectiveness responses to various scenarios. However, even in these cases, safety consideration will remain important to prevent accidents and ensure responsible use of this exemption.
So the next is E. The driver of a vehicle when he or his passenger are pursuit of a criminal. F. A law enforcement officer who is trying to overtake a violator of traffic laws. G. The driver operating a vehicle of any fire department provided that exemption shall not be instructed to allow useless and unnecessary fast driving of drivers aforementioned. So here is the final thought about the topic that I've mentioned. Enforcing speed limits in the Philippines is crucial to improve road safety, reduce accidents and fatalities, and promote sustainable transportation. While there are challenges in implementing and enforcing those regulations, there are also solutions and best practices that can be adopted to achieve these goals. By raising public awareness, investing in infrastructure and technology, and promoting safe driving habits, the Philippines can continue to make progress in ensuring safe and efficient transportation for all.
So today we discuss what is uniform speed limits throughout the Philippines and why we cannot change the speed limits. So what is uniform speed limits in the Philippines? Under RA 4136, these speed limits are uniform nationwide. This means that no provincial city or municipal authority can enforce any resolution or ordinance specifying speed limits other than those prescribed in the law. Question is why we cannot change the standard speed limits. The Philippines recognizes the danger of speeding. Speed limits are set under Republic Act 4136 or the Land Transportation and Traffic Code, which mandates the allowable speed limits on open country roads, city and municipal streets through fares.
B. Lateral placement. The proper positioning of the motor vehicle while traversing on a traffic way or while parked. First, proper positioning while traversing. The proper positioning while traversing is the surveyor moves from one point to another by simultaneously measuring bearing and distances by dead reckoning. And the second is the proper placement while the parallel parking. The proper placement while on the parallel parking is used when parking parallel to the curb or alongside other parked vehicles.
Lateral placement refers to the proper placement of a vehicle while parking diagonally. It involves aligning the vehicle parallel to the designating parking space with equal distance on both sides and the front and rear of vehicle to achieve correct lateral placement while parking diagonally. Follow these steps. Approach the parking space at a slow, controlled speed, ensuring there is enough space for your vehicle. Position your vehicle slightly ahead of the desired parking spot and align parallel to the parked vehicle on either side or either side. Begin turning the steering wheel in the direction you want your vehicle's front end to go. Then, for example, if you're parking on the right side, turn the steering wheel to the right. Maintain slow and steady forward movement while turning the steering wheel. As your vehicle starts to align diagonally with the steering wheel, gradually continue inching forward until your vehicle is positioned correctly within a parking space parallel to parked vehicles. Ensure that there is an equal distance between your vehicle and the vehicles on either side, as well as sample space in front and behind your vehicle. Engage the parking brake and shift into park or the appropriate gear for your vehicles to secure in the place. By following these steps, you can achieve proper lateral placement while parking diagonally, ensuring that your vehicle is aligned appropriately within the parking space and maintaining equal distance from outlet vehicles or other vehicles. Proper placement while perpendicular parking involves parking the vehicle parallel to the curb or parking space line at a 90-degree angle. This type of parking along the side of a street in parking lots with designated perpendicular parking space, the vehicle is typically parked facing the roadway or away from traffic. The main difference between proper placement that while perpendicular parking is the orientation and angle at which the vehicle is parked.
Now, let's talk about overtaking and passing. Then, I will explain to you the general rule of overtaking. First, let's talk about overtaking and passing. Overtaking and passing are two common maneuvers in traffic management and transportation that allows drivers to move ahead of slower vehicles. However, these maneuvers must be executed with caution to minimize the risk of accidents. Overtaking and passing may be the same in our minds, but these two has different meanings. So first, what is overtaking? Overtaking is the act of moving ahead of slower vehicles in the same direction of travel. Using the opposite lane of traffic, these maneuvers typically involves changing lanes and traveling in oncoming traffic lane for a short period of time. While passing is the act of moving ahead of slower vehicles in the same direction of travel without changing lanes. This travel is typically used on roads with multiple lanes in the same direction. This maneuver can be done on both lanes or sides of the vehicle as long as it is free of other vehicles. Now, let's proceed to the general rule of overtaking. The general rule of overtaking must always overtake on the left lane or side of the vehicle. Remember, passing and overtaking should only be done when it is safe and necessary. Exercise caution and prioritize safety over time saving.
And lastly is overtaking and passing. A driver should pass a safe distance to the left of vehicle being overtaken and it shall resume driving on the right side of the road only after passing clear of the overtaken vehicle. The exceptions: on the highways with two or more lanes where traffic goes wrong direction, another vehicle may be overtaken on the right. Section 39 Republic Act 4136. For example, vehicle 1 can use the right lane outer in overtaking and passing vehicle 2. Next is vehicle 5 attempting to overtake vehicle 4 using shoulder of the board, which is not only a violation of the rules but dangerous because he might hit something on the shoulder. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you learned something from our discussion.